Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Demon Bounty events. Now, I wasn't even going to make a video at all today, but whenever I got up and I saw how this went down, I knew that I had to. So what I want to do for you guys in this video is explain what it is, what happened, and what went wrong. So you guys might be thinking right now, why would I make a video about this? This is an irrelevant, basically a PR stunt gone wrong. And by the way, TLDR, that's what happened. But I think that I want to tie this into a couple of other bigger discussions and bigger issues that I did kind of want to have, a discussion about on this channel for kind of a while, but I really just haven't had a time where it really felt like it would fit in very well. So I want to kind of talk to you guys about that as well. Now, before I really get into anything else, I want to explain actually what this actually is. So yesterday, well, I guess for you guys 2 days ago, the day before this event happened, Blizzard posted out, it was like a teaser, it was like a tweet. It was something like demon invasions begin, be prepared for demon bounties or something like that. And so, obviously everybody's thinking, oh wow, this is going to be content for the game. Surprise, surprise. It's another Twitter and Twitch giveaway. So a lot of people are not very happy about that, just based on the fact, and I want to really emphasize this right now, I think that honestly the biggest mistake out of all of this that Blizzard made is that they misled players. And, I don't think anybody likes to get fucked around. Okay, and I think that that's really kind of why people were more frustrated. Now, if Blizzard had come out and said, hey, we've given a lot of beta keys to some of our, more popular streamers that, that we, we condone what they do, which is, of course, why I was not on the list. And by the way, I'm not mad. I'm fine. That's cool. It's fine. But anyway, I mean, like, who else would want to sponsor somebody slapping cookies on their face and screaming into the keyboard or the microphone at 5 o'clock in the morning in BRF? So I understand. Okay, it's okay. But anyway, we're going to give some different keys to a lot of streamers that, we think they create good content and we think they're a good face for the community. And so, tomorrow you guys can go out and, submit these different pictures of these demons. It'll be a cool little community event, get people out in the world. And I think that if they presented it that way, a lot of people would have had a much more positive reaction. Now, there are a lot of people who just overall, wholesale, dislike streamers, dislike YouTubers, dislike celebrities. They dislike anybody who they believe is putting themselves out there in a way that is, not unreal, but kind of a fake way. They view people like myself and people like different streamers and all, they view them as kind of fake people who are just in there to manipulate people for the money. And it in some ways I can see, like, obviously there are a lot of people who are like that. I try not to be, of course, but there are more people who aren't like that, and just a wholesale dislike is usually not, like, stereotypes are a lot of times based on reality, but whenever you apply a stereotype to an individual, it usually doesn't fit. So obviously, and it is kind of irrational in some ways, but whenever you also, counterbalance that with the people that, and this is like also, I think this is really kind of a generational thing, by the way, and I want to talk about that in a minute. Whenever you look at the people who are like maybe 13 to 25, okay? And so these are like the two different generations of gamers, and I'm going to kind of look at here. The gamers between ages 13 and 25, and then also the gamers between ages 25 and 40. Now, obviously, there's overlap, but those are just kind of the two different groups that I'm going to be using. And the younger generation, I think a lot of them look up to these streamers, look up to people who make content on videos. I get a lot of comments like that myself. And, some people want to emulate that themselves. Some people just want to kind of be in the spotlight. I'm not really sure. Everybody's a little bit different. So you get kind of this, like, putting somebody on a pedestal and then, thinking they're the greatest thing no matter what. Even if they're like a terrible person, right? They eat kittens or something like that. Even besides that, this streamer is the greatest person ever because they said hello to me 3 months ago and now they don't remember anything about me. So you get, on one side you have something like that, but then on the other side you have people that just think anybody that makes content online is a streamer, and they just generally dislike them. And I do think that the older audience of gamers, and now I'm now 26. As of not very recently, but semi-recently, I guess I do fall into this category. We kind of look back, and I was having this conversation with my friend Austin, and he and I, he started World of Warcraft because I did. He started in 2010, and so that was really kind of before this whole, I guess, like, this change. There's really been a big change between before in like 2008 and before then 2010. Before then, I think 2011 was really the big year where streaming and content creation online really kind of broke out into the mainstream, and people started doing it as a career, and also they started doing it seriously full time. So before then, you would play the game, and success in the game and playing the game and everything around that was centered around games was centered around the enjoyment and the love of the hobby of playing games. Whereas now, there is kind of, I guess, like, I don't really know the word to say. Is it like a double standard? I'm not really sure what it is, but there are a lot of people who look at video games as also a way to make money. And I think that whenever you introduce money into any sort of a hobby like that, there is a very, very high potential and a very, very high propensity for things to get a little bit tainted, and for people to feel like they're just doing it for the money, and for people to feel like it's not just as pure of a form as it used to be. It's not just, a few neckbeards sitting down in their mom's basement doing UBRS, right? But instead, it's like some guy who's, on a stream in front of a bunch of people, with like, this is his career, and selling t-shirts and everything like that. And I think that, towards, I guess, like the generation that I fall into now, that is a little bit alien, because we can look back, and especially people who are older than me, we can look back and remember how games used to be. You played games and you were successful at games and you succeeded in games and you did all of that for the love of the game. You didn't do it for money, you didn't do it for YouTube views, you didn't do it for anything like that. Now, as myself, I've always been a person, I don't really consider myself in a way like narcissistic, but I always really like to share my experiences and share my life with other people. For my whole life, I've really liked to just make videos, and kind of I recorded videos, and I recorded videos of like my video games and stuff like that before anybody even put any of that stuff up online with like my old video camera. They looked like shit, but to me, that's one thing that I always thought was really, really cool, because I wanted to share something that I really enjoyed and something I had fun with. But I think that whenever, money does get involved and everything, there's a it's very, very easy to cross that line into, I guess, like, I don't really want to call it selling out, because that's not necessarily a bad thing, but doing things that's more for the money and less for the love of the game. And so I think that this older generation that I guess now that I'm a part of kind of looks at the streaming and the YouTube and the Twitter and the social media culture with a little bit of disdain. And so whenever Blizzard puts out a promotion like this, this promotion is targeted at the younger audience. It's not really targeted at maybe even my audience. It's targeted towards the younger audience. And so whenever the older audience sees that, and we remember back whenever, the Wrath of the Lich King beta came out, you didn't have to go to a stream and take a picture of some, level 30 mob that you killed or something like that. The only thing that you had to do is just sign up on the website, and hopefully you get it, hopefully you don't. But as things have progressed, as they've evolved, arguably, a lot of things have changed, and I think that a lot of people feel like they're not necessarily, it's not the same type of gaming environment that they grew up in, and they don't really like that as much. Now, that's basically kind of the way that I feel about, I guess, like, what the situation is. And, my friend Austin and I, as I said, we talked about this a lot the other day, because back then, everything was just for the love of the game. There were no ulterior motives. Okay, I think that's one good way to say it. There were no ulterior motives. And as things have progressed, you never really know if that's really the case. And, even as somebody who, there was something special about just coming home and having time to where you could just indulge in a game, and there was no sorts of money in it or anything. You just did everything for the sense of it being a hobby. But, at the same time, I think that there have been good things that have come out of, streaming and the YouTube culture that's happened in probably, I'd say, the last 5 years. And there have been bad things, too. So I think that, as I said before, these two generations of gamers that Blizzard is both trying to cater to and both trying to make happy, a lot of them have polarizing and opposite interests and opposite wants. So whenever they did a promotion like this, the older generation is probably not going to be very happy about it. Now, my personal opinion on this is that I don't really care, honestly. I mean, one way or another, if they give it out. Now, one thing I want to do is that I think that, guys, a lot of people are not really understanding why Blizzard gave the keys to the streamers, why they gave them to the websites and everything like that. So what I want to do is I want to do a little exercise, okay? I want to do an exercise with you guys to help illuminate the situation. So let's take the phrase Demon Bounty Event, okay? And this is what we're going to do. We're going to change the word event into commercial. To me, that makes a lot more sense. And I think that a lot of people need to realize that. This is not done to do anything else except for advertise Legion, advertise the game, and get hype built up for the game. The reason they want to do it through social media is because if you can get a hashtag trending, that increases the potential audience. We'll see that hashtag, which increases the potential audience of customers. So it's obvious why they're trying to do that. The reason they're not just randomly giving it out to people is because Blizzard stands to gain more from doing it through the streams. Now, you can also counter-argue that and then say that it would also be a bad thing for them to do that because it could lower their credibility and lower their trustworthiness from, let's say, a more loyal audience. Like if somebody has played the game for 10 years and then another guy gets the beta key instead of them, you can see how that person can get a little salty about that. But I think that it's give and take, and especially with a lot of company decisions just in general in the world now, a lot of things are based on I guess like short-term games and short-term profits. So you're not necessarily going to be able to quantify the amount of people who might lose respect in a company, but you can quantify the amount of people that see a hashtag. So that's kind of what I think the issue is here. And it's the same thing also with the stream. Like if you can get some guy to, it's like if they give, let's say, if they give some guy, I'm not going to use any names because I don't want to, have anything like that. But if they give some guy a bunch of beta keys and he gives them out and then he gets a lot of viewers, that's going to push his ranking up on the, if it's not just the page for that game, the page for the entire website. So more people will see him, more people will see him playing the game, more advertisement for the company. And a lot of times that people, I read some stuff online about this, and a lot of people said that Blizzard should host this themselves, and the reason they're not doing that is because they can give the keys. The key, it's free to make a beta key, right? It's free to make a beta key, and they can just give a beta key to a streamer or to a person who makes content here on YouTube, and that costs them nothing. And that streamer or the person on YouTube advertises their content for free. So it's not. There's no reason for them to set up their own event when they can just give it to somebody for free, give somebody something that costs them nothing to make and have it done for free. Now you're gonna have some fuck ups, okay? And I do want to talk about that also. Apparently a dick showed up on somebody's stream instead of one of the demons. I guess it's kind of the same thing depending on the dick. But the point is that that showed up and that happened. Now, that's completely the streamer's fault. That's why I don't take any pictures. That's why I don't open links on stream. That's why I only ask people if they want to send me pictures, they have to send them embedded through a Twitch, through a Twitter picture, and also if it's a GIF or any sort of a changing object or image, then Twitter will automatically detect that whenever it uploads the image onto their servers. So that's why I don't really take any other sort of links, and people can be malicious with that in other ways as well. But just so nobody tries to make me feel like an idiot or make me look stupid, that's why I have that. So if a streamer, if somebody does that and they're just opening up random pictures on stream, especially even if they're imager links, you never know, people can embed other images in there and just all kinds of weird stuff like that. So if you let that happen, that's the streamer's fault, and it's not really Blizzard's fault really for doing that. And I mean, like, even in sports events, guys, you're going to have like streakers and stuff like that. Now, obviously, the people who are holding the event there, it's their responsibility to prevent that stuff from happening. But I think that as reasonable people here, we can all kind of agree that that shit's going to happen one way or another. So that's kind of the way that I feel about that. Obviously, it wasn't really supposed to happen, but shit happens, guys. It really, or I guess dicks happen. So not really too big of a surprise. Next thing that happened was that somebody accused a streamer, and I didn't watch this. I was fucking asleep. I woke up at like 9 p.m. today. somebody accused the streamer of basically selling the beta keys. Now, that's also that's a limitation. That's something that could potentially happen whenever you have a donation bar or something like that. Now, what I would have recommended, what I think they should have done, is they should have had each streamer be hosted through the what do you call it? Through the Warcraft channel, and that way there'd be no immediate donation link and somebody couldn't correlate a donation to a picture and then give a beta key to that person, because we just have to be realistic here, guys. If somebody donates $100, you're gonna, like, the people are probably gonna give them a beta key more often. Like, you might not like that, you might not think that's fair, you might not think that's the right thing to do, but it's just the truth. And the more that we deny and the more that we pretend like, things shouldn't be a way, the more that we try and pretend like how things I guess like should be, that detracts and it takes away from the time and the effort that we can focus on in reality, working on how things could be. And I think that, a lot of times people have very unrealistic expectations, and those are, always end up bad. Okay. And so I think that unrealistic expectations, and also not unwarranted unrealistic expectations, but unrealistic expectations and not meeting expectations is really kind of the big issue that I would say, I guess, like, came out of this event here. The what's it called? Demon Bounty commercial, which is basically, they pumped this up, they hyped it up. People were wondering what was this, and it was presented, at least it seemed to me, and it seemed to a lot of other people, that it could. People thought it was a pre-patch. Other people thought it was new content. They thought it was a big new announcement for Legion, something like that. And then to see it turned around for basically more promotion for what some people in that older audience just feels like more promotion for streamers and people who make money through the internet, who they don't necessarily have a lot of respect for, and also just more promotion for them and more beta keys and stuff like that. It just kind of leaves a sour taste in people's mouths. And I think that that's really kind of what happened. I think that if they had handled the event better, everything would have gone better. But at a certain level, I don't think that they're going to be able to make everybody happy, because, as I said, there are two different generations, I believe, of gamers. The 13 to 25, and then I'd say the 25 to 26 to 45 or something like that. And they have very, very polar opposite wants and needs. And Blizzard as a company is never really going to be able to make all of them happy, but I think they could probably do a little bit better job not creating false expectations. And I felt like I was misled, and I think a lot of other people felt like they were misled too. So, I think if they had just kind of been more direct about it, more upfront about it, everybody would have been happy, but that wasn't what happened. And, because those expectations were not met and people felt like they were cheated out, especially at somebody else's gain, in the example of the streamers here, it just doesn't make people feel good. And, for a company to be putting out a new product, the last thing that they want to do is make sure that people don't feel good. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much, how long was this? This is probably kind of a long video. Sorry, I just had to talk about it. I think somebody does. But that's pretty much all I've got. Some things I wanted to talk about with the generations and the streaming and just like how things, I guess, have changed. And I think this is just a really good example of whenever things are done in like the new age for like the younger audience, and then this is kind of how the older age of gamers do sometimes react to it. But I do think a lot of it, again, would have been, I guess, completely subverted if they were able to just be very direct and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I've got. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. Again, it's not really too big of a deal, but I think it's kind of a mining canary, or, it kind of shows, it illuminates a much bigger issue and a much bigger divide in gaming, and also in kind of the disconnect between what, I guess in this circumstance, Blizzard wants players to do and wants players to have, and what players actually want to have. People never really want to feel like they're being used. And I think that this is what people felt like they were used with this event. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got. I'm curious to hear what you think, but that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.